Hello again, Mr. Cook here. Today we're going to do our first lab on series circuits. This should seem a little familiar to you. A series circuit is in line where we have our little power supply and it runs through a switch and it runs through a light bulb. Previously, we made one with a little LED, and for our switch we had a little paper one. And it would turn on the bulb. Yay! Today we're going to do it with a little better equipment. So, pick up your lab sheet. Every single person needs to fill out their lab sheet, even if you guys help each other out on this. You are going to gather your equipment. You're going to need a digital multimeter. We're going to be measuring voltage across different components this time. You want to get a battery pack like this. These are D-cells. You put 4 of them together, and we would have a little negative end to post and a positive end. Here's a little tech trick. There is really hard to hook onto the positive end with these. So I stuck a little paper clip in here so I can get it going. It gives me something to hold on to. You're going to need 3 light bulbs. I have these ones out here. Make sure your light bulb is slightly screwed in so the base touches this piece of metal here and it's not going to fall out. These should be about 90 degrees apart splayed. Sometimes they can shift together and short things out. But you're going to need 3 of these little light bulbs. Last time we had the paper switch. This time we're going like the really kind of cool classic switch. You're going to need a collection of cables with little alligator clips at the end. They're called alligator clips because it looks like an alligator mouth. That's actually not the sound an alligator makes. Alligators sound more like dog barking. That's more the monster movie thing, but they're kind of fun to play with. You're going to need a collection of this, about 5 or 6 of them. The color at this point is not super important. And of course, you'll need something to write with. Now, on the first step on the video, you are going to see this circuit here. And this is called, let me put the switch off. This is called a series circuit. The word series means one follows another. You have the World Series, one game after another. You have a television series, one episode after another. If I take a bunch of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a series of number. What's important is when the switch here on the top is closed, it allows current, we're talking current would flow out of the battery, go through the first component in series, go through the bulb, the second component in series, and return to the battery. This is very important. It has to be able to return to its starting point. It's got to leave the battery, have a clear path, and get back to the battery. Know what we would call opens. And that would make it a complete series circuit. So the first step you're going to do is take these and build a little circuit. Excuse me while I get going. I usually use the black cable on negative ends. I'll hook it to my battery pack. I will usually use red on the positive ends. Following along in the diagram, I can see it comes out and it goes to a switch. I will take my switch, take another cable, comes off my switch. Get in the habit of when you're hooking up switches or playing that you leave the switches open. It will go from the switch to one side of the battery. I mean, one side of the bulb. Bulbs don't really have positive and negative ends. And then the bulb will go back to the battery pack. So let me tilt down the camera and give you a little shot of what I have going on here. Your display should look something about like this. Gets out the cables, comes out of my battery pack, goes to the switch, goes to the light bulb, there we can see it, and goes back to the battery. So this way when I close the switch, yay, the light is going. Your next step is to take the digital multimeter. I'm going to show you down here. You're going to turn it on to voltage. Make sure up here it should be on DC volts. If not, you can hit the select switch and get it going. And of course, Mr. Cook grabs one that's dead. Hold on while I get another multimeter. This is the thrill of doing live. So now I got a multimeter. I have it set for voltage. And I'm going to take a couple measurements. The first thing it asked me to do is measure across the battery pack, red to red, red to there, and I will get a reading of voltage, and I will record that. It asked me to turn on the bulb and take another reading, and I will record that to see if the switch actually affects the battery pack if I go across the battery pack. The next part is it's going to ask you to take the voltage. I should get down here where you guys can see me. Yay! The voltage across the bulb when it's lit. So I will put this on one side of the bulb, on one side of the other, and I will read the DC voltage there. I will take it also with the switch off and no bulb, and I will take that reading there. Shouldn't be any big surprises what you get here. Yeah, I'm back. That'll be the first page. Now I mentioned in series, by the way, there's a little essay question after. Make sure you answer in full sentences. By full sentences, I mean grammatically correct. Also, as I've mentioned before, avoid using the word it. Don't say it lit. Say the bulb lit up. Don't say it was 12 volts. Say the battery was 12 volts, and so on. Get used to speaking and writing properly. Now the next one, you're going to see another drawing of a series circuit with two bulbs. It will look like this. Notice, once again, series means it falls in line. So it's going to come out of my battery, go through my switch, go through one bulb, go through the second bulb. Notice I move my switch over here. That's just a convention on drawing. We like to put switches near batteries. I could have easily drawn the switch up here, just so the idea I get goes from battery to switch to bulb, comes all the way back to the battery. As I mentioned last time, we have to have a complete route. So we will build this one. Essentially what I will do is where I had the battery before, where I had my bulb, I'm going to unplug it from the battery, add a second lead to it. Actually, let me do it this way. I like the red cables. Come off one, come to the second, and back to my battery pack. Let's see if we guys get a good view of this here. That comes toward me, that comes toward me a little, and my switch here. So I'm coming out of my battery pack to my switch, a little hard to see in the cable, to one bulb, off that bulb, to the other bulb, and from that bulb back to the battery pack. So this time when I close it, I should have two lights going on. Awesome. Now, read the directions on some careful measurings on this one. We're going to be doing things just slightly different this time. So we're going to measure across the battery pack again. You know how to do that from the first part. You're going to take your DC voltages and you're going to measure across one bulb. See what it is across the first bulb. We're going to call that one bulb 1. Then we're going to do it across bulb 2 and see what it is. Here's it's tricky. We're going to take it off one side of bulb 1 where it is first going in. That would be from here. And then our next lead is going to go on the opposite side of the bulb by the battery. This will give us the voltage across both bulbs. So you will see that. There are a couple other variations. Read instructions carefully, and you're going to get them. Now, after this one, you're going to make a series with 3. I don't have a picture of that. I want you to figure out how to make a series of 3 on your own and draw the picture. And then, to make it really interesting, when you have 3 in a row and they're lit and you've done your measurements, read how to get the measurements, you know how to go across the bulb, you know how to add bulbs together. I'm going to have you take all 3 of them and I'm going to have you unscrew one of the bulbs so the bulb goes completely off. And I want you to see what happens to the circuit. I'm kind of hiding it here. I want it to be a surprise when you get to that part. And then put it back in. When you screw bulbs back in, don't force them. They should easily rotate on. A lot of people just like, oh, it's not working, so they'll try to muscle it. If you take your time, you'll get it threaded and it'll go in correctly. And, yay, back up here. And that is going to be the lab for today. There's a little essay on the back, has some questions about your observations. So read carefully. I did not cover every step here, but you're going to make a series circuit with one bulb and take measurements, a series circuit with two bulbs, and I have pictures of those. Then you are going to make a series circuit with three bulbs. You are going to need to draw the schematic here. You can figure that out. Do the readings it says right here. And then on the very back page is a couple where it asks you to unscrew or do certain things with the bulbs and observe what happens on the circuit. Then once again, when you are done, you'll bring this to me and have me sign it as proof that you have actually done the lab and you're not copying it from somebody else. Have fun playing with your series circuits today.